Hello, how does the HortiPower Mesh system works? You as a user can control the lights through a web app, both on your MacBook, laptop or mobile device. And of course that's connected to a router. The router makes a connection to the cloud where the app lives, and also the router is connected to a gateway. And the gateway connects then to the lights, and under the lights you can grow edible flowers, herbs, leafy greens or tissue culture. This is an example of the web app and we'll talk about that later. What are the benefits of HortiPower Mesh? It helps you to achieve your potential yield at a higher quality and value with lower operational hassle and costs. One of the first important features is basically it helps you to group, manage and schedule your lights with ease. Second part is that it is a scalable and secure wireless mesh network. And thirdly, it allows you to provide the right light at the right time for every crop and growth stage. And you can run dynamic light scripts to optimize quality and yield, and it also helps you to automate your farm and ease your workflow. A traditional network is basically a router that connects directly to a node or lighting device or any IoT device. The limitation is that you can often connect only a maximum of 50 nodes, and when the nodes are really far away from the router, then the router cannot physically reach those nodes. So that's a limitation. In order to overcome this, we developed the HortiPower Mesh network because indoor farms have a lot of lights, and also if you have a horticultural setting, often these spaces are very large, so you need also a very far reach. And in building a mesh network, it allows you to reach those nodes that are really far. A gateway is added in this case, and the gateway can handle 512 lights per gateway, and there's also a limitation in how many gateways you can have per router. That's in the next part. But first, an overview of the different network approaches. The first traditional one is a pairing, one-to-one. There's also broadcasting, one-to-many, but we use a mesh network, many-to-many, and also if one of the nodes are missing, then it is no problem because the network will self-heal itself and basically make sure that nodes that are far away also get the message. So as I mentioned before, one node can act both as a receiver and a repeater, or a parent and a child, and you can have 6 to 11 or to 10 or sometimes even more parent and child nodes. It depends a bit on the hardware, but in general it's 6 to 10 nodes, and that basically means 6 to 10 steps in between from the gateway all the way to the endpoint. There is a maximum of 13 gateways per router in spaces that are very narrow, such as indoor farms, or when you have a narrow device proximity. So that means you have about 6,000 lights that you can connect on this. If you have a greenhouse or large device distance, then you can increase the number of gateways that you can have per router up to potentially unlimited. And that's because then the Wi-Fi networks and the Wi-Fi channels don't overlap, and that could be a physical limitation with Wi-Fi. So this is what I mentioned before, maximum 30 gateways per router, or maximum 254 gateways per router if there is a larger distance. This is an example of the user interface, and it has the functions grouping, scheduling, and there's also a marketplace where you can purchase LightScripts. Scheduling is a very useful function because it allows you to schedule lights based on a daily, weekly, or monthly cycle, or based on your crop cycle. You can separate your farm or tissue culture laboratory in different zones or groups. So you can have a production area, for example, or a seedling area focusing on different leafy greens or different herbs, and then give a different lighting treatment or light script depending on what those crops are needing at that moment, or your growth goal at that moment. For example, you want to separate vegetative growth or flowering stage, then you can do that with this functionality. I mentioned before LightScript. What is a LightScript? It's basically 3 elements and 11 factors for horticultural lighting design to help you achieve optimal growth and development of your crop and yield. It's about the light intensity that the plant perceives, the spectrum that's needed for the crop and the growth stage, and it's about your time and time-based goals. And of course, these need to be outcome and evidence-based. So you can also run your own trials, and we are also running our own trials to make sure you get consistent and high quality results.